Okay, Crystal, what are you taking a look at?
Well, guys, the media has finally started to admit that maybe Biden's age, and not even just his age, but his clearly declining abilities, are an actual issue for him. And the reason they're doing this, which is going to become quite clear in a moment, is because you have a massive donor and elite freakout about this state of affairs. So the New York Times wrote quite an extraordinary piece here. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. They talk about the complicated reality of being America's oldest president. President Biden is asking voters to keep in the White House until age 86, renewing attention to an issue that polls show trouble most Americans. And they've got a bunch of heavy hitters on this article, by the way. Keep this up on the screen because I'm going to read a little bit from this. You know, they mix into this piece a bunch of hero arc narratives about our strong and virile leader alongside these anecdotes about some real struggles in terms of just understanding like the basics of what's going on and recalling certain basic facts. So they say there was the time last winter when President Biden was awakened at 3 a.m. while on a trip to Asia and told that a missile had struck Poland, touching off a panic that Russia might have expanded the war in Ukraine to a NATO ally. Within hours, in the middle of the night, Mr. Biden consulted his top advisors, called the president of Poland and the NATO Secretary General, and gathered fellow world leaders to deal with the crisis. And then where there was the time, a few weeks ago, when the president was hosting children for Take Your Child to Work Day and became mixed up as he tried to list his grandchildren. Quote, so let me see. I got one in New York, two in Philadelphia, or is it three? No, three, because I got one granddaughter who is, I don't know, you're confusing me. He also drew a blank when asked the last country he had visited and the name of a favorite movie. Put the next screen up here, guys, that has some of the details about the way that his staff has limited his appearances, has limited his schedule to accommodate the realities of the president today. They say his staff schedules most of his public appearances between noon and 4, and leaves him alone on weekends as much as possible. Aides limit exposing the president to news media interviews when he could make a politically damaging mistake. For comparison, he's given just a fourth of the interviews that Trump did in the same period and a fifth of the interviews that Mr. Obama did in the same period, none at all to reporters from a major newspaper. And they say White House officials have not made Mr. Biden's doctor available for questioning as previous presidents have. Now, keep in mind, these are the limitations that exist today. And he is asking to be reelected and would be 86 years old. So quite a number of years down the road from today. And, you know, you can project into the future. Nobody knows for sure what type of limitations may be placed on him at that point in time. So this shows you how far they already are down the road to curtailing any of his activities and even his ability and accessibility to the press, which is, you know, a vital part of democracy and being able to assess and question the president on key issues of the day. There's an interesting piece of this article where they acknowledge that this has become a major concern among donors and among Wall Street elites, which is the whole reason that the media is really paying it any attention now whatsoever. One of the reporters was actually on MSNBC where he got asked about this report. Listen to the framing and listen to how he talks about the concerns among those elite circles. Take a listen.
Take us behind closed doors. Party leaders, whether Democratic donors, prominent Wall Street Democrats, what are they saying privately? How big of a concern is the president's age and what the alternative could be?
Well, it's the concern. I hear it all the time. I don't think I ever speak with any Democrat who doesn't raise that issue. Not that we raise it, they raise it, you know, and I know that there are people in the White House and around President Biden who would like to think this is just a creation of the media or the Republicans. It's really not. I hear from almost every Democrat I talk to. There was a dinner recently it was told about between, former governors and senators, all of whom are roughly in Biden's generation. All of them thought, no, he shouldn't be running. He's too old at this point. Is the Wall Street major figure we talked to who said every single donor for the Democratic Party they speak with, in fact, brings this issue up. The White House gets calls from local officials asking about the president's health. I mean, it's a constant concern among Democrats.
So here's a part in the article where they discuss exactly this. Put the quotes up on the screen here. They say unease about Mr. Biden's age suffuses Democratic circles. One prominent Wall Street Democrat who, like others, spoke on the condition of anonymity, noted that among party donors, it was all anyone was talking about. At a small dinner earlier this year, former Democratic senators and governors, all of them in Mr. Biden's generation, everyone at the table agreed he was too old to run again. Local leaders often call the White House to inquire about his health. So these are the discussions that are going on in elite circles, in Democratic donor circles behind the scenes. And that's the reason why they are now leaking out into the press. And Sagar, it's also the reason why you see this panicked last attempt to, get Jamie Dimon or somebody into the race that they feel like could take the reins from Joe Biden. But it's certainly not enough for them to allow an actual democratic process to unfold in which voters...
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.